So you just got home with your brand new copy of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Or maybe your eShop copy just unlocked. And perhaps your cartridge looks a little more rectangular than mine, but no matter. The point here is that Tears of the Kingdom is a whole new Legend of Zelda. And no matter how many times you beat BOTW, no matter how many hours you spent in that version of Hyrule, this is a whole different beast. So we've got a great list for you here to start your Tears of the Kingdom journey off with a bang. All new puzzles, all new powers, all new challenges, all new enemies, all new collectibles. And so I've prepared the very best tips to make sure that you get things going in the right direction, and to be safe that you don't screw things up for later on in your playthrough. We've put together an awesome list after all our time playing this game, and let me tell you, the new era of Zelda is freaking beautiful. So hit that like button if you're excited for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And now, let me give you the very best way to get your playthrough started. So without further ado, let's dive in to the most important top tips to ensure that your early game Tears of the Kingdom adventure is that much better. And it begins with Ultra Hand. Ultra Hand is the focal feature of Tears of the Kingdom, and right off the bat, it is going to weird you out. The controls are a bit awkward at first, and for me, lasted a number of hours before I truly got a grip on them. I'm here to ease everything by giving you the top tip on diagonal controls. When you pick something up with Ultra Hand, it'll seem like, man, I need this to be flat. I need this to be in one of the cardinal directions, like up, down, left, right. And if it's diagonal, it's real confusing. The most critical piece of information here is to stick with your rotations. Don't try to flip the object. Don't try to set it down just so. Don't hope that the physics pull it down to a flat level. Stick with your rotations. If you rotate a couple times horizontally by holding the right bumper and using the horizontal D-pad, and then rotate a couple times vertically with the vertical D-pad, and again a couple times horizontally, more than likely you will be back at the cardinal directions. Flat up and down, flat side to side. I'm telling you, you gotta just stick with it and let your brain do the work. The more you think about how I could possibly rotate this object to get it the right way, the worse it's gonna be for you. I tried to figure out spatially and mathematically which way I needed to rotate, and I was having so much confusion. But if you just rotate a few times horizontally, rotate a few times vertically, another couple times horizontally, boom, your object somehow magically is perfect. I think Nintendo knew that this would be a bit of a difficulty, and so they figured out a rotational system that just works if you let it do the work. The more effort you put in, the more likely you are to screw it up, so just rotate and stick with your rotations. A few times horizontal, a few times vertical, a few times horizontal, bada boom, bada bing. Trust me, this will save you so much headache and so much hassle. One power that the game doesn't seem to make too critical though is Ascend. And I'm telling you, Ascend is your best friend. There were so many times that I forgot I had the ability to literally break the game. There are very few video games where you can just go through something above you, just soar through the earth, soar through the sky. It's really quite crazy. And Ascend is going to get you out of so many tricky situations that previously would have taken a ton of time or a very weird, lengthy solution. If you fall down a big hole, Ascend. If you're stuck in a cave, Ascend. If you can't quite climb because your stamina starts off so dang low yet again in Tears of the Kingdom, Ascend. And if you just want to quickly reach a higher portion of a sky island or make your way to the top of a tower, Ascend. If Ascend is not available, it'll show up with a red ball, and you're trying to turn that ball tealish green. And if you just be real minute with your movements, you almost always can find a place where it allows you to ascend. Even if the game seems to not want you to ascend, I'm telling you, Ascend is your best friend, and you really, really need to start using this thing as early as you can, because it is going to make your playthrough so much more fun and save time for all of the good stuff. Before you get to the rest of the good stuff though, you will have to partake in a number of early shrines on the Great Sky Island. This is the equivalent to the Great Plateau, except this one is bigger and, for me, took a lot more time. Now, one of the best early weapons you can find on the Great Sky Island is the axe. You'll find them stumped into a tree, and it's the perfect weapon to slice and dice your construct foes, as well as trees to get new pieces for your rafts and such. But I want to warn you, do not use the axe when activating vehicles. Every vehicle, every Zonite construct must be activated with a slap. You gotta hit it with a weapon. But if you are using an axe on a vehicle that has wood parts, yes, the physics do carry through. And yes, Link will actually break apart the vehicle as he's trying to activate it. This happened to me about 3 times. I was very sad each time. So make sure if you're using that axe, which is the best early weapon, swap to a stick, swap to something else, swap to something that will not chop wood. Otherwise, your vehicle will disappear right beneath your feet. Now, maybe some of these tips sound a bit stressful, but I'm telling you, the early hours of Tears of the Kingdom are brilliant. But if you do feel like it's a bit slow going, if you do feel like, hey, this isn't as opened as I was promised, wait till you get the Paraglider. The Paraglider solves so much, and it's placed a little bit later in this game than it was in Breath of the Wild. No, you didn't miss it, just progress along with the normal story, and when you meet back up with a friendly face from Breath of the Wild, a character who's very good with technology and maybe even Sheikah Slate type stuff, you will in fact grab that Paraglider once again, and goodness gracious, especially in a game with Sky Islands, the Paraglider is paramount. It also expedites and speeds up the adventure tremendously and will allow you to traverse to many more places very quickly, and after a couple of hours, it really feels like Tears of the Kingdom finds a foothold and activates this adventure where you can kind of do anything, and there is absolutely so much to do. So don't stress about fusing. Fusing is one of the most anticipated new abilities and powers in the game, but I found myself really worrying if I should be fusing these items. I found a really sharp horn and it seems like it's going to boost my sword in a big way. Should I use it? I got some King Bokoblin bones and they are boosting attack by double digits. But do not stress. Fuse away and use these items frequently and early. You will find so many more. It's a little bit daunting at first because you can fuse anything to anything and you don't want to make the wrong choice. You don't want to waste the weapons that you have or the items that you've acquired, especially because the amount of weapons you can carry is very, very low comparative to how much you want to fuse. That's why it's totally fine to just not stress, fuse away, use the items, break them, and move on to the next one. You'll begin to find better and better items pretty quickly, and the items exponentially progress. So especially when you begin, don't worry. Fuse for fun, fuse to get used to it, break, repeat, recycle, everything will work out a-okay. Let's talk about Zonite Charges. This is one of the most plentiful items you'll find early on, and it seems kind of silly. Like, why do I have so many? They're everywhere. Maybe I don't need to worry about collecting them. No, I'm telling you, you must grab as many as you possibly can. Overfill Link's pockets with Zonite Charges, because after the opening hours, man, Zonite Charges become very, very valuable. Zonite Charges are given by many constructs early on the Great Sky Island, and you will think that they're everywhere. They're not. And Zonite Charges are used for multiple very important things, including the gumball machines that you see that provide you with all sorts of Zonite parts. These parts could be fans, these parts could be rockets, these parts could be sleds, these parts could be wings, these parts could be springs. All sorts of different things scattered across the world in different gacha machines, and you acquire them with Zonite Charges. But that's not all. Zonite Charges also provide extra battery juice for your vehicles that is imperative to solving some of the game's side quests. Your battery is so small at the beginning that without these extra one-time use Zonite Charge boost, you will not be able to complete certain tasks. I got to a point where I ran out of Zonite Charges and I wish that I had more. So please collect as many as you can, and even if it seems redundant, you're gonna use them. Back on the power side of things, recall is an ability that I think Link uses sparingly. But just know that you can rewind and recall twice in a row. So if you see a giant rock fall from the sky and you think, hey, I want to take that rock back into the sky and get back up there to those islands because I've been down on the ground for a while and I don't really know a good way up. You'll recall your way up, and by the time the meter expires, you won't be near the Sky Islands. You'll be kind of in a strange, awkward in-between, and you'll begin to fall. But no matter, just tap left bumper again and you'll reactivate rewind and recall. I wish the game explained this a little bit better, that you can use it back to back like that, but it's imperative, critical, if you want to get back up to the Sky Islands. And in fact, this is the best way early game to reach said islands. Find a rock that fell, rewind it twice, and you should absolutely be high enough so that you can get where you're trying to go. If you've made it this far in the video, you're about to get the spicy tips. You're about to get some really good ones that help get you ahead of your friends in the competition in the early game. Caves have a special collectible that is very, very cool. I'm not going to spoil what it's used for, but I will tell you that bubble frogs provide bubble charms, and there's one in just about every single cave. They are very evasive creatures that are best handled with arrows. They'll shoot bubbles at you, but they only take one shot to knock down. It's more of a task in trying to find the right positioning so that they're not running away and being accurate enough to aim and fire and hit than it is a tough battle. They can't really hurt you all that much, but make sure that if you're in the new caves of the game, which are really fun to explore and I think you'll find is one of the exciting new features of Tears of the Kingdom, definitely, if you see a bubble frog, go after it. And if you see a bubble frog out in the field, it can lead you back to a cave, dropping rupees along the way. And once you take out the bubble frog, you'll get a singular bubble charm. The game says it doesn't know what they're for, but you'll know eventually. And ooh, is it a very, very good reward. One of the most difficult things in the early game is how far you can fly. Fall damage is absolutely brutal, and without a ton of stamina, you can't get very far with that glider. So you're going to end up falling a lot of the time, and Link can go straight down with minimal movement. But there is one piece of early armor I highly recommend you seek out, and it's fairly easy to get, but it is going to make your life a whole lot easier. It's called the Glide Shirt. It's on Courage Island, and you'll access this island in the sky via Lindor's Brow Skyview Tower. This is on Hyrule Ridge, very near the beginning point once you get down to the ground. It's the first tower I found after the main tower that you open up to get the glider. And if you go to this tower and reach Courage Island, there is a small ring flying test. If you fly through the rings within a certain amount of time, you will acquire the Glide Shirt. And the Glide Shirt allows you to maneuver while falling far better. Dude, this helped me out so much because if you run out of stamina or if you're trying to preserve stamina, you don't really make much progress in any direction except down. With the Glide Shirt, that all changes, and it saved me a whole lot early on. Now, this tip is something not a lot of people are talking about because I believe most players think that the depths are for later on in your journey. Yeah, there's a third map in Hyrule, and they tell you about it very, very early on, but I think most people are going to miss it. And they're going to believe that all of the gloom, doom, chasms, and the underground is something to be tackled when you are far stronger. Now, there's some merit to that argument, but the game specifically does put in a quest to introduce you to the depths right off the bat. I'm talking as soon as you get off the Great Sky Island, and I think a lot of people are going to miss it. You'll need to continue the conversation with Joshua and Goggles to activate this depths quest. And then you'll be chasing Goggles down into the doom, into the gloom, into the depths. And there, Robbie will help you understand what's actually going on in this underground and what's important to seek out down there. I think it's very, very fun and very, very cool to open up the depths early in your playthrough. I know some people will save it for later just because they're a little bit nervous, but I was totally able to make solid progress within the first few moments that I set my feet into Hyrule. 3 hearts was what I had, and I was good. It's a little scary, it's a little daunting, but I think it really helps you see the scope, size, and just wonder of this game. To head down there with Goggles and see what the depths are really all about. The quest is missable, but just keep talking to those 2 characters after you get the paraglider, and it will put you on the right track. I don't think this one's gonna fit in my Switch, but it is a very nice Triforce, and hopefully those were some very nice tips for you. If you guys enjoyed the video and got some help, hit that like button and let me know your favorite tip out of those 10 in the comments down below. And if you have an even cooler tip, definitely share it because everybody, I'm sure, would love to know what has made your Tears of the Kingdom start extra cool. This game is massive. It's going to go on for eons, and I bet you there are tons of tips to uncover, and I will do my very best to bring them all to you as you continue your journey through this new, improved but also broken Hyrule. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Subscribe if you're ready for more Tears of the Kingdom content. And until next time, everybody, SwitchForce out.